God's praise, we all assume that there's a lot of other translations in terms of English that is there, but in terms of English grammar, but it's not just like the translation of some of it's just like misspelling words. I was a little surprised at what's going on. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Radha Madhava
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Song's almost over. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Chant Vishrupad Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtotra Shadrashish Madhavaram Rekti Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Prantaraj srimadbhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the Sambhava devotees. All glories to the Sambhava devotees. All glories to the Sambhava devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, titled Status Quo, Chapter 26, the fundamental principles of material nature, 42, text 42. Kushayo madurastikta Katvam iti naikada Bhautikanam vikarena Rasa eko vibidyate Kushayo madurastikta Katvam iti naikada Bhautikanam vikarena Raso eko vibidyate Kashayo madurastikta Katyamla iti naikada Bhautikanam vikarena Rasa eko vibidyate Kasaya astringent, maduraha sweet, tikta bitter, katu pungent, amlaha sour, iti thus, na ekada manifoldly, Bhautikanam of other substances, vikarena by transformation, rasaha the subtle element taste, ekaha originally one, vibidyate is divided. Translation. Although originally one, taste becomes manifold as astringent. Manifold, huh? Manifold as astringent. Sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, and salty due to contact with other substances. So I'll read a few more verses. The characteristics of water exhibited by its moistening other substances, coagulating various mixtures, causing satisfaction, maintaining life, softening things, driving away heat, incessantly supplying itself to reservoirs of water, and refreshing by slacking thirst. Purport. Starvation can be mitigated by drinking water. It is sometimes found that if a person who has taken a vow to fast takes a little water at intervals, the exhaustion of fasting is at once mitigated. In the Vedas it is also stated, apo maya prana. Life depends on water. With water, anything can be moistened or dampened. Flour dough can be prepared with a mixture of water. Mud is made by mixing earth with water. As stated in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, water is the cementing ingredient of different material elements. If we build a house, water is actually the constituent in making the bricks. Fire, water, and air are the exchanging elements for the entire material manifestation. But water is most prominent. Also, excessive heat can be reduced simply by pouring water on the heated field. Due to the interaction of water with it, next text. Due to the interaction of water with the taste perception, the subtle element odor evolves under superior arrangement. Thence the earth and the olfactory sense, by which we can variously experience the aroma of the earth, become manifest. Odor, what is it? Thence, yeah. Odor, although one, becomes many, as mixed, offensive. 45, yeah, next verse, 45. As mixed, offensive, fragrant, mild, strong, acidic, and so on, according to the proportions of associated substances. Purport. Mixed smell is sometimes perceived in foodstuffs prepared from various ingredients, such as vegetables mixed with different kinds of spices and asafoetida. Bad odors are perceived in filthy places. Good smells are perceived from camphor, menthol, and similarly other products. Pungent smells are perceived from garlic and onions, and acidic smells are perceived from turmeric and similar sour substances. The original aroma is the odor emanating from the earth, and when it is mixed with different substances, this odor appears in different ways. So I'll just read one more, text 46. Bhavanam brahmanasnanam dharanam sadvisheshanam sarvasattva gunodbeda prithvi vritti lakshanam. The characteristics of the functions of earth can be perceived by modeling forms of the Supreme Brahman, by constructing places of residence, by preparing pots to contain water, etc. In other words, the earth is the place of sustenance for all elements. Purport. Different elements such as sound, sky, air, fire, and water can be perceived in the earth. Another feature of the earth especially mentioned here is that earth can manifest different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this statement of Kapila's, it is confirmed that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman, has innumerable forms, which are described in the scriptures. By manipulation of earth and its products, such as stone, wood, and jewels, these forms of the Supreme Lord can be present before our eyes. When a form of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is manifested by presentation of a statue made of earth, it is not imaginary. The earth gives shape to the Lord's forms, as described in the scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, there is a description of Lord Krishna's lands, the variegatedness of the spiritual abode, and the forms of the Lord playing a flute with his spiritual body. All these forms are described in the scriptures, and when they are thus presented, they become worshipable. They are not imaginary, as the Mayavad philosophy says. Sometimes the word bhavana is misinterpreted as imagination. But bhavana does not mean imagination. It means giving actual shape to the description of Vedic literature. Earth is the ultimate transformation of all living entities and their respective modes of material nature. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Fundamental principles of material nature. So the first verse 42, although originally one, I'm reading it, taste becomes manifold as astringent, sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, and salty due to contact with other substances. And it continues. So if we have bitter things in the temple, a lot of the brahmacharis don't like them. They'll just sit there all day. But the sweet things, they'll generally disappear. So in the verse in purport of 46, I'll read the verse again. The characteristics of the function of earth can be perceived by modeling forms of the supreme Brahman, by constructing places of residence, by preparing pots that contain water, etc. In other words, the earth is a place of sustenance for all elements. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to explain in the purport how, according to Scripture, there are different forms that can be made out of different elements, material elements. And if they're made in such a way in a bona fide, authentic way, representing this, or made to following the descriptions of the Vedic literature, then they are worshipable. Of course, many people, they would say this is imaginary, this idea of worshiping a form or a statue. And they don't understand it. They think it's crazy. And of course, Srila Prabhupada would, presenting the whole culture of Krishna consciousness in America, in a foreign land, it's quite a challenge, even nowadays. It's quite a challenge to present, the culture in this particular place we are, because people aren't familiar with it. So we have to come up with all different types of ways how to communicate and explain these different points to people, which a lot of people, even upon us explaining logically and... All right, no fighting in the Bhagavatam class. Zach and Janardhan, just save it for afterwards. We want peace, at least in the Bhagavatam class. So, even upon explaining or communicating logically to people, and even giving them the chance to experience, a lot of people won't understand. A lot of people won't understand, even though they may be, whoever they may be, religious or non-religious, or whoever they may be, they just don't understand. But there are some fortunate people who do understand. And that requires it actually requires some piety or some goodness to understand. Or else, we won't understand at all. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye sham tvantakatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta. What's the rest of that, Jyotir Prabhu? Or somebody? Nirmukta bhajante mam dridavritaha. So practically it's saying that verse is saying that one who has piety, they could become fixed, the Dhridavrata, and worshiping Krishna, and those who don't, they can't become fixed. They have a problem. Or also Krishna says, Bhogeshvar prasaktanam taipratihitta chetasam, that people are too bewildered by material opulence, the resolute determination for devotional service doesn't take place, because they're too bewildered by material opulence, or whatever it may be. Sinful activity, sinful mentality. And of course, Srila Prabhupada would say many times that he created his disciples' piety, or we could say he created our piety if we're not direct disciples, grand disciples. His followers created our piety. Means that we may not be qualified, but due to the special mercy or the special blessings of Gaurnitai, of the whole parampara, then we somehow get a chance. And through that association we become pious. We become, you could say, some goodness developed. People who somehow or other, unfortunate people, they cannot understand, and they blasphemy. They say, oh, this is idol worship, and they even say this is demonic, or you're worshiping Satan, or whatever they say. We may have experience of people saying these things. But at least within my experience and with the experience of many aspiring devotees or experience of many devotees is that there is some experience they have with worshipping deities, for example. They have some experience, or chanting. It's not just an ordinary thing. There's some transcendental experience. And therefore, the attachment that the devotees develop to the deity or to the holy name, it is real, at least to them. But we could say it's real. For other people, it's not real. But and the thing about attachment in this world is that attachment is the source of all suffering. Attachment's the source of all suffering, actually, or all pain. But attachment is also the source of all pleasure. Just like for somebody who's attached to heroin, they're very eager to get their paycheck or get their money somehow or other, by stealing it, by stealing people's property, by pawning it, by dealing drugs, by any other way, they get their money, right? And then they're very eager to get that money, and then why are they eager to get the money? Because with that money, they go to the drug dealer, they get some heroin, and then they shoot it in their arm. They find a what is it called? A proper vein, and then they shoot it in their arm, and then they feel pleasure, right? They become attached. And upon, you could say, many people destroying their lives by that activity, in terms of trying to rectify themselves, right, trying to get free of that habit, they're going to feel lots of pain. They're going to be, I had some family members who were addicts, heroin addicts. And there's a lot of pain there, when they're trying to give it up, because what is it called when you have withdrawals? Yeah, you have withdrawals. You're throwing up, you're sick, you're laying there. It's very painful. It's extremely painful. And most people, they can't tolerate that. They keep on going back to the drug. But even if they don't, even if they get past that withdrawal stage, still within their mind, they may have that, attachment and that longing and that urge. It's an urge to do that. But for someone who is not attached to heroin, like me, I could care less. It's not like it's painful me being separated from heroin, because I have no attachment to it, and I had no attachment to it, so it's not painful at all. Or just like somebody who's attached to sweets. If we say, okay, you fast from sweets for the month of Kartik, right? Some people do that. And in the process, they'll feel some pain. They'll feel some pain. Oh my God, this is difficult. And, how am I going to do this? And there's some pain there.
Let me just look at this.
Yeah, let me just go take darshan of the burfis, of the rubber. Or what to speak of sex? If somebody's attached to that particular activity, if you tell that person, okay, now you be celibate, right? And let's say that they actually try to be celibate, like many people who join the ashram. It's not, I'm sure a lot of them throughout the world and America were attached to sex in different ways. But okay, now you be celibate, and why? And then in the process of trying to be celibate or being celibate, there's a lot of pain there. Why? Because there's attachment. There's attachment. For someone who's not attached to that activity, there's no pain. It's, so what? Who cares? I'm not engaged in activity, I could care less. Right? So that the attachment's the source of pain on material platform. But also in the spiritual platform, you could say that, like Ramananda Roy talking with Lord Chaitanya, he says that Ramananda Roy is asking, what is the greatest pain? And then he says that to be separated from Krishna's devotees, that's the greatest pain, right? What's the greatest gain is to have that association. So our value system, what we consider valuable, can either be demented or you could say pure. And of course there's all different types of shades in between, mixed. And what we find pleasurable and painful could be demented or pure, or all the shades in between. So the whole process of deity worship and the whole, as it's mentioned here in the purport, worshiping the different forms of the Lord is to transform our you could say, demented value system into having, valuing things that are actually good, actually pure, and taking pleasure in things that are actually pleasurable, and not things that are just demented. Like people, they eat all types of weird stuff. They eat, fish eggs and I don't know. Yeah, caviar and whatever. Yeah, fish eggs and oyster, all types of stuff they eat. And they find pleasure, they find great satisfaction, and they spend tons of money on that. Actually, very expensive to eat at all these places. So we could say that is due to them being absorbed or influenced by the lower modes of material nature, and then therefore they take pleasure in it. So the first step really is that we have to try to understand. We have to know that, okay, my present situation is there's some ignorance there. There's some ignorance, and I have to get free from this. I have to get free from this. And you could say most people, or a lot of people, they don't really know. They don't really know that they are living in ignorance and acting in ignorance, and just like that. So we have to understand that, yes, there's some ignorance in my life. There's some things that I need to remove in my life, right, in order to be Krishna conscious. And but upon knowing that that's not where it ends, just to know, right? Because many devotees know, actually. I mean, most devotees, they know their present state, actually, and what they need to work on. But what needs to happen is we need to develop that determination or that will, because there's a lot of people who know, for example, that they need to give up smoking cigarettes. There's tons of people who know that. Like, this is bad, it's horrible. I mean, it's like smoking cigarettes. Like, they see that nowadays there's so many, I don't know, but on the TV there's so many commercials and shows all this, the lungs and how it just destroys and everything like that. And they know that, okay, I need to give this up, but not now, maybe later. I can't do it now, I don't have the determination, don't have the will. So, or so on, or people, whatever, New Year's is coming up, right? The big thing in New Year's is that people want to lose a few pounds, right? That's a big thing. They want to use a little weight. And they know that, but the whole process of trying to do that, exercise and blah blah blah, a lot of times they fail, lack of determination. So the point is, most devotees, they know what they should do. They know how to go back to Godhead. They know, they know what is pure devotional service, actually. But the determination is lacking. That will is lacking. The will to actually do it. So the process of deity worship, it's one of the 5 most potent forms of devotional service, according to Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar Devotion. And he quotes a verse, Smaram Bhangi, that verse. Yeah. That if you're attached to materialistic friendship, family, society, love, then don't go see Krishna, right? Shamasundar, threefold bending form, who's standing on the bank of the Yamuna, Keshi Ghat, and he's playing his flute, with the peacock feather, moonlight, right? Don't go see Krishna. Why is that? Because by seeing Krishna, we'll lose all attraction to those things. We'll lose all attraction. So really, the development of strong will and determination really just comes from being attracted to Krishna. I mean, because by that everything else just seems useless, really. I mean, all material, you could say, all material pleasures and aspirations just become useless. It's just like pointless, useless, no good. And we're very easily able to renounce things that will get in our way, that get in the way of going back to this spiritual world, like material aspirations and sense gratification and so on. So this is the beauty of deity worship, which Srila Prabhupada very painstakingly introduced to into this Western world. The process of deity worship, and it's very attractive. I mean, it's very purifying, very attractive, and it's a great opportunity actually. You could say to live where the deity is, the installed Archamurti Vigraha deity is. It's a blessing. So the idea is we should try our best, as far as possible, to be in that mood of serving the deity, of chanting the names, of Radha Krishna, Radha Giridhari, decorating the temple, cleansing the temple, cooking offerings, all these, and also bringing conditioned souls to Krishna. That's what we're trying to do. Of course, sometimes we may not think like that, I'm bringing conditioned souls to Krishna. Yeah, but Krishna's here. So we bring them to the lotus feet of Radha Giridhari. And of course, when they come, generally they don't understand, that, okay, this is God, and this guy just brought me to the lotus feet of God type of thing. They don't get that. But it's a gradual thing. That they come and they chant, and then they become devotees and become initiated, and then after some time they realize, okay, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yeah, this person brought me to Krishna. This person brought me to the lotus feet of Krishna, and to understand that the deity is non-different. That's important. So Srila Prabhupada he set up all these temples and installed Radha Krishna deities with the idea that the conditioned souls would come to the temples and they would take darshan and they would chant, and upon taking darshan and chanting they would become free. They would become free from their materialistic tendencies and attractions and distractions and just everything. They become free completely. And also the restaurants, like Prabhupada, he said, you introduce this samosas and all these different things, and people lose their attraction to meat, as Prabhupada said. Because in America, Srila Prabhupada knew that, people are attached. People are attached. That's how they grew up, eating meat. So he wanted to introduce things that would replace that. So this is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and of the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, that he's given us a way to become free. In other words, you could say he's like saving us, like literally saving us from so many horrible things that we could be involved in. And then some devotees, they say, oh, okay, well, I don't feel completely saved, right? I don't feel completely free. Okay, fine, that may be. You may not feel that liberation quite yet. You may not feel that Krishna Prem quite yet. But the fact is, if we analyze at least some of our old associates, maybe, or maybe our family members, and see how entangled they are. We may not be, experiencing the waves of, pure love of Krishna and all these different hairs stand on end every time we chant. But if we just step back a little bit and try to analyze old friends, associates, and they're very much attached. They're very entangled, or a lot of them are very entangled and attached, and just, not doing good from the spiritual point of view. So in that way, gradually, our emancipation, our spiritual emancipation is taking place very slowly. Just like our old age. Like right now, we've all sat down in the class, sat down in the srimadbhagavatam class to talk, and we've all been aging since we sat down, right? Before we sat down too, and when we get up. Gradually, we're aging. But it's imperceptible, we can't see it. Our hair is growing, right? If we don't shave for a month, the hair grows imperceptibly. You can't see it growing, or the nails. You can't see it happening. So similarly, goes on like that, and then all of a sudden there's death. We didn't see all that time passing, but it does. It's passing imperceptibly, you could say. It's hard to see. So similarly, sometimes our spiritual advancement is like that, or emancipation is like our spiritual emancipation, or us becoming free is like that. We can't really see it taking place, but it is. That's the thing. It is. So that's the wonderful thing. And this is the whole. This is, you could say, one of the main purposes of the material world is to transform the living entities from, it says at the last, the respective modes of material nature. So to transform these living entities, or transform us, again into pure lovers of Krishna. That's the whole aim. And it's a great challenge. We have, like here it says, the Mayavad philosophy. Mayavad philosophy says this is imaginary. And bhavana, which is misinterpreted as imagination, but Prabhu says does not mean imagination, it means giving actual shape to the description of Vedic literature. So it's a challenge because practically the whole world is infested or tinged with Mayavad. And people become so heartless or so robotic or so emotionalist that they're able to do all types of horrible things, and they don't care. It doesn't matter to them, because really, when it comes down to it, they're really not seeing people as people. They're just seeing them as whatever, bags of chemicals or whatever they're seeing. Just imagine, who knows what they're seeing. Very animalistic, just like in Vegas at that Mandalay Bay. The guy shot out the windows, broke out the windows, and just killed so many people. Why? Because heartless, emotionless, just violent person. Didn't care. So Krishna consciousness is really the way to solve all problems, violence and anger and hatred and all these different things that are going on in the world. It solves it by softening the heart, by making the heart soft, in which people won't even hurt an ant. Softening the heart in which people actually care for people. They actually understand that people are people, that they have some emotions there. Or else just people become envious, like that. So it's a challenge against the Mayavad, this Mayavad idea, this impersonalist idea that's very prevalent all over the world. And it is the duty of the members of the Krishna consciousness movement to be good examples in what it means to be a devotee, and also try to combat this in their own way. And this way, some people we could help in freeing people. So does anyone have any questions or comments? Yes, Jivita Prabhu. Yeah.
You know, and I said, well, you know, that's an important step forward.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking about, I remember when I first walked into the temple, you know, many years ago, it was the sights, the sounds, the smells, the taste, the sound, all those, you know, how does attraction work? We had to use the word association, but one of the meanings of the word association is that, okay, I came to the Hare Krishna temple, and I didn't have anything about philosophy, so that, the people were very nice, you know, and then I gave me something to eat, oh, this place is so good, you know, and so in all of someone's life, you know, there's so many things going on, and, oh, I remember, you know, like when I went to the temple, like that, so that brings you back.
Yeah.
And then you associate everything with what you had, the pleasure that you had.
Yeah.
And how nice people were, and used to be, you know, maybe
Yeah.
it was looking at philosophy. So you know, the attraction is a complicated thing, all of your senses, your mind, your emotions. So everything, if we pay attention to everything, something that creates an impression in someone's mind, and it should come back.
Yeah.
It's coming back that shows that, you know, we're giving this impression on through us, through our efforts, so that they can change. Conversely, if they don't find anybody talking to them, and you know, like that, you know, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it's important to realize that we're aging with Krishna,
Yeah. You know, just remembering, years ago, Malati, she sent out something, like email that, I don't know, Tirtha Maharaj gave all of us something, but it said, how do we treat our guests? That was it. And she communicated some message that was posted on the internet by an Indian fellow that had visited one of our temples in America. And he came by, and he was just there for a few days. I mean, it's not like he was, you know, there for long, just a few days. So he came by, and you know, he had darshan, and he said he put something in the handi, you know, donation, which I believe him, because a lot of Indian, that's their culture, a lot of people do that. And he said that he went to the prasadam room, and he got some prasadam, and you know, he was sitting there with the devotees and everything, and then you know, everything was fine. But then the next day, he followed the same procedure, and then he went to the prasadam room, and then some temple devotee came up to him, and you know, was giving him a hard time, and said, "Hey, you know," like very aggressively, and said, "Hey, you know, like, you know, hey, there's a donation box there. You know, you should give a donation," and you know, like kind of like really. And so he said he felt really uncomfortable. You know, he felt really uncomfortable, and he gave his donation in the handi. I mean, the devotee just didn't see that. You know, so then the next day, he said he made it a point. You know, he went there and went to the, hey, here we go, and you know, put it in the box, the prasadam box. But I thought that was interesting because he was a guest. I mean, there for a few days. It's like, and then you get all aggressive and hey, you know, hand it over, buddy. Here's your donation. You know. Or also, I remember reading that book, Congregational Development Ministry. I think what that devotee's name, Maya Kuntiya Prabhu. He said that there was one temple in California, and he said that there was a sannyasi who came by, and then the sannyasi saw that there was some new person, new guy, you know, never saw him before in his previous visits, and he went up to him and said, "Oh, hello, how are you?" and Hare Krishna, all these. And the guy said, "Oh, I'm very happy you spoke to me. I've been coming here for, I don't know if he said a month or something, and no one really like communicated with me, no one talked with me, so I'm very happy you." I was a little surprised, it's such a long time. So yeah, how we treat the guest is like extremely important, extremely important. Western guest, Indian guest, doesn't matter, whatever guest. Yeah, they talk to each other. Yeah.